really want to start talking now about what density trends tell us about the future of congestion. Cities are not going to get any less dense. In fact, now layer in what's happening globally, that cities are getting ever more denser. More people are moving closer together than in any other point in history. But density itself is not the problem. In fact, density can actually reduce congestion, or if it's designed correctly, and that's a big or. However, when people live near each other, near work, near shops, and spend time, they don't need to travel as far. So often that's referred to as the happy city, the sustainable city, the 15-minute city. Sometimes I've referred to it as the ice cream cone city. You should be able to get an ice cream cone within 15 minutes walk of the front door of your home. So again, looking at how we look at human density in cities and then how we move people around is really needed to take a fundamentally new look. So the real issue is when density is paired with outdated infrastructure. So that's the core problem. We keep growing cities, adding more lanes, creating more demand, wider, greater land mass acquisition, and yet people are moving into these dense areas where none of those practices actually apply to the future of cities and the future of mobility, actually. So that's when these bottlenecks occurred, inefficiencies happen, and I think we all know it every day, all the frustrations around congestion. We often say is that there's two things, no matter who you are, where you live, two things you'll consider today: what you're going to eat and where, and then how to plan your life around traffic congestion. And that's just common. And often where we're in different cities or suburban areas in the United States in particular, we see the congestion problems, as we would say, over there. If we go on vacation and we have traffic, we get it and we tolerate it while we're on vacation. But when we look at the New Yorks or the Miamis or the Dubais or the Mumbais or Sao Paulo, we look and say, oh my gosh, how did it get that way? And then what do we do to solve it? So both in the discussion of future city design, but then its application into retrofitting, there's so much to learn about how we move people, not just moving vehicles. And then lastly, the future of congestion isn't really about how many people there are, but how to intelligently move them around, and for this dialogue, around urban centers. And again, we would emphasize the really forward planning of multimodal, multi-layer future of mobility focused on networks and hubs, and then all of the layered options of mobility, the future of mobility, really around shared vehicles, autonomous vehicles, electric vehicles, aerial mobility, and then of course we would also emphasize personal rapid transit as another really unrecognized part of the future of mobility puzzle.